Mr. President, good evening and welcome to News Hour right here on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation SLBC. We're broadcasting live from our New England studios in Freetown. I am your presenter, Adam Asila. Top stories in this edition of the news. Anti-Corruption Commission reacts to the 2020 audit report. The Minister of Information and Communications, Mohammed Ramanswaye, launches the over 1.9 billion project for the rehabilitation of the SLBC corner radio station. And Bank Governor Professor Falcanon says they want to improve access to finance, particularly for micro, small and medium-sized enterprises in the country. Well, all those stories and more lined up in this edition of the news. But as always, we start first with our corona preventive message, and after which we the rest of our news broadcast for the hour. Stay tuned.
You see where them people here wear them mask them fine? Well, now so you say for wear your mask. Cover your nose and you must hurt them where they near other person.
Welcome back from that corona preventive message. It's now time for us to go for our news in detail. The Anti-Corruption Commission has reacted to the 2020 audit report. The Commissioner Francis Ben Kaifala said even though his commission cannot investigate the entirety of the audit report simultaneously, however, his inspection officers are poised to start investigations on the first batch. We get a excerpt of his speech.
Two things are clear. One, Sierra Leone is taking stronger action on Auditor General boards since 2018 to now. In fact, what we are doing is not being done in any other country in Africa when it comes to taking prompt action on audit reports. Similarly, we do not do so discriminatorily. We take all the issues, taking into consideration our capacity and our resources, because the ACC cannot deal with all the issues that come out on the report at the same time.
The 2020 audit report highlighted 1,020 issues that need to be investigated by the Anti-Corruption Commission. Among the first batch of institutions to be investigated are the National Mineral Agency and Seratel. The commissioner also reminded the media that over 70% of the 2019 audit report were investigated, and they plan to systematically investigate the 2020 audit report as well. SLBC News Hour, Julian Kouma.
And that was the Anti-Corruption Commission Francis Ben Kaifala reacting to the Auditor General 2020 audit report. Bank of Sierra Leone is having economic diversification project in collaboration with World Bank have launched the upgraded Sierra Leone collateral registry. The initiative of launching the upgraded collateral registry, according to the Bank Governor Professor Kaifala Kalam, was to improve access to finance, particularly for micro, small and medium-sized enterprises in the country. Jonathan Toner tells us more.
The Bank of Sierra Leone and Sierra Leone Economic Diversification Project have provided a platform that allows micro, small and medium-sized enterprises in the country to use different assets, different qualities to access finance in order to improve their businesses. The upgraded Sierra Leone Collateral Registry is a web-based system that allows lenders to search for any registrations relating to prior security interests and provide a perfected ways to prioritize their security interests over movable and immovable assets provided as collateral. Additionally, the collateral registry facilitates the use of movable and immovable property as collateral that may remain in possession or controlled of the borrowers, and thereby improves access to secured finance. Businesses, cars, houses, land, mobile phones, and other machinery can be used as collateral in the new system.
You've been saying is access. Now the Bank of Sierra Leone, through the support of SLEDEP, has provided a platform that allows you to use different assets, different collaterals to access finance. Please use it, and now you as an individual, you can use it yourself. So please make good use of it.
We're going to go out there and let the general public know about the collateral registry. We're going to go out there and take the story about the deepening of the financial system to the general public. We're going to go out there and ensure that you have hits on the collateral registry, and this is going to make not only the MSMEs become more active, but it's going to make the business sector in the economy become more secure, and finances can go out there with the assurance of returns or the collateral to back it up.
According to the bank governor, Professor Kefala Kalon, given the opportunities in agribusiness, among others, the collateral registry regime allows farmers and entrepreneurs to unlock significant sources of capital with assets that will otherwise not be looked at by lenders as potential collateral. He said movable and immovable assets are the main type of security that micro, small and medium-sized enterprises need to obtain more finance and resources.
And credit worthiness. All of these initiatives that the bank is putting together are geared toward moving the private sector forward, because we as the central bank are responsible for creating a comfortable investment climate for the people of this country.
Micro, small and medium-sized enterprises have been identified as critical pillars and agents for economic growth, and the upgraded collateral registry system will ensure that the finance system is more efficient, effective, productive, and brings returns to the economy by enhancing GDP growth. For SLBC News, Jonathan Turner reporting.
The Minister of Information and Communications, Mohammed Roman Sore, has launched the project for the rehabilitation of the first SLBC government provincial project in Kano District. The minister secured funds from the government to modernize the SLBC facilities in Kano as part of its commitment to improve on the state broadcaster in disseminating relevant information, policies and programs government is rolling out for the benefit of Sierra Leoneans. From Kano District, Dauda Kumar sent in this report.
The over 1.9 billion leones project for the rehabilitation of the SLBC Kano radio station is expected to be completed in less than a year. It will improve and transform the station from analog to digital broadcasting and provide a conducive working environment for its staff. The Mayor, Kano City Council, Matthew Kombasam, and the Chairman, Kano District Council, Sir Solomon Bondo, lauded the work of the Kano station for their professional and objective broadcasting by educating the public on government activities and development, and called on the contractor to deliver on the expectation of the project. The Chairman, Council of Paramount Chief, Kano District, PC Foyo, noted they have been experiencing much from the station in linking live programs from Freetown, but the station has been challenged with such facility, calling on the ministry to make the SLBC television to be accessible in Kano District. He commended the ministry for improving on the station's working environment and enhances its coverage. The representative of SLAJ, Kano District, Sylvester Banga, and the civil society representative, Michael Senesi, called on the ministry to provide stable electricity supply for the station, improve on the road network, that leads to almost all radio stations in the district, and called on the minister through his ministry to support journalists in Kono with capacity building, both with national and international opportunities. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Trade and Industry, Augustine Sheku, who started the project during his tenure as PS at the Ministry of Information, said they already engaged with the Sierra Leone Roads Authority to construct the road leading to the station as part of the project, adding that the need to transform the SLBC station in Kono from analog to digital is significant. The provincial coordinator, Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, Ibrahim Batilomatia, said the project is a history-making one for the corporation, noting that since the inception of the current administration in 2018, they have done a lot in improving the access and facelift of the corporation. He said through the project, the station in Kono will start doing their own television live programs and have the facility to link direct from Freetown. The Minister of Information and Communications, Mohamed Rahman Swagi, said Kono District is pleased to own the first SLBC provincial radio station in the country supported by government, adding that the project is part of the President's commitment to improving on information dissemination to the public. He stressed on delivery of quality work to the project and commended the manager of the station and team for their efforts in keeping the station decent and running. The station manager, Kono SLBC Radio, Dauda Kamara, commended the Ministry of Information and Management of the SLBC for making the dream of Kono people come to pass by improving the state broadcasters' coverage and working environment, and called for a brand new transmitter for the station in Kono for a sustainable and wider coverage of their programs.
On the celebration of the United Nations International Migrants Day, the International Organization for Migration in Sierra Leone has organized a film screen event to raise awareness around illegal and dangerous migration to Europe and other parts of the world. The event took place at the Radisson Blu Mamioka Hotel, and Dennis Fraser was there.
Since the adopting of the Convention on the Protection of the Rights of all Migrant Workers and Members of the Families on 18th November 1990, the United Nations Family has been marking the day each year by celebrating contributions of migration. Every year, the International Organization for Migration, IMO, organizes the Global Migration Film Festival Awards and also uses its migrants as messengers to warn against illegal migration. The IMO in Sierra Leone Film Festival uses images to tell stories about the dangers of irregular migration and also create space for deeper discussion, conversations and reflection on the challenges and difficulties encountered in irregular migration. In his statement, the head of International Organization on Migration, Dr. James Bogunza, thanked governments and partners for supporting them to screen educative films, all for the purpose of raising awareness around irregular migration. He noted that IMO was committed to continue working, supporting, and also putting in place interventions to address the challenges of illegal migration.
Working and supporting and also putting in place interventions in addressing migration challenges and harnessing the full potential of human mobility in the country.
Speaking on behalf of the United Nations country team, Steve Nusuba said there was many dangers associated with illegal migration for which the United Nations family was working tremendously to help combat. He said the United Nations has been using the day to express compassion on the challenges migrants face in undertaking dangerous adventures to Europe. He encourages all present to frown at illegal migration and asked for collective efforts to minimize the risk involved.
Employment and livelihoods are driving forces for migration. We have to be mindful of the benefits of migrants bring to society, including, as has been said before, knowledge exchange, providing young workforce for aging societies, and through remittances and diaspora investments in the countries of origin, such as Sierra Leone. We have also found to denounce the abuses that migrants endure, especially smugglers and traffickers, whose unscrupulous work continues worldwide.
Global migration is a multifaceted phenomenon that has a lasting effect in the lives of people. Often in West Africa and other parts of the continent, people use the Sahara Desert and the Mediterranean Sea as an easy route to Europe. SLBC News, Dennis Fraser reporting.
SLPP delegates in Cambia and Putloko districts have openly thrown their support for Jimmy Batilo Songa for the position of chairman of the party. They declared their support when Mr. Songa met with them to convince them for their votes for elections slated for the 29th and the 30th of December. Emmanuel Samura has details.
Mr. Batilo, we stand with you. And we will vote for you.
This was how delegates in Cambia and Putloko openly threw their support for Batilo Songa and promised to vote him as the next chairman of their party. The meetings in Putloko and Cambia were originally intended for campaign reasons, but they turned out to be fora for testimony, where people openly testified of how a man they referred to as the poor man's friend positively impacted their lives. They were of course talking about Jimmy Batilo Songa.
Even though he has not yet occupied the chairman's position, he is helping us greatly. We are confident that when he becomes the chairman, he will do more than what he is currently doing.
The man respects people. You understand? We're not going to go put somebody the way, he become an oligarch. He becomes somebody where we go worship back.
We have to put someone that cares for and respects the people. Batilo is the only one that possesses such quality. He has been the voice of the voiceless, and we believe that he will move our party forward.
Beats me. I like the hospital. And the only man is Oman Pablo.
If I am alive today, it is because of Batilo. When I was lying helpless in the hospital, Batilo was the only person who secretly went and paid my hospital bills. He even facilitated for me to be flown out of the country for added medical attention. He is a man that feels for others irrespective of who you are.
In both of the districts, Batilo tailored his message on providing a leadership that will be resilient, transparent and progressive, and to strive to better the lives of party members.
I make una for actually get somebody where they talk for una. The only reason why I want that job not to follow gentry. If I want gentry, I will stay as the deputy commissioner. Me woman and MP, then go pay and then pay me. But who that will talk for una? President Diop mean very well for una.
Mr. Songa encouraged the people to be peaceful, give audience and good hospitality to others who will be coming to campaign to them, as they are all members of the SLPP.
The Minister of Internal Affairs, David Noah, has launched the UN Peace Building Fund cross-border project to be implemented between Sierra Leone and Guinea. The project is funded by the UN Secretary General Peace Building Fund and aims at bridging the division between cattle rearers and farmers in the sister countries through a conflict resolution mechanism. The event took place at the conference hall of the Internal Affairs Ministry, Gloucester Street in Freetown. Emmanuel Samura has the details.
The project will be specifically implemented in Falaba district on the Sierra side and Farana prefecture in Guinea. These two districts from either side have one of the largest concentrations of cattle ranches, and reports of conflict between the herders and crops farmers have been evident. This was the reason the UN initiated the project to build cross-border peace and strengthen sustainable livelihoods of cattle herders and crops farmers in the two countries. WFP Country Director Steve Nsumbuka said the UN peace-building cross-border project intends to provide concrete support to address issues of potential destabilization in the border areas of Falaba district and Farana in Guinea. He said WFP's utmost priority is people and communities, promote peace among them and crops farmers and cattle herders to thrive and build livelihoods side by side. Head of Mission IOM Sierra Leone, Dr. James Bongoza, said climate change has altered traditional movement patterns and increased transhuman migration as cattle herders and farmers look for more cultivable land, further increase intercommunal tensions. He said IOM would conduct a comprehensive border and migration assessment to better understand transhuman migratory routes, trends and impact in the border communities during the project implementation. Internal Affairs Minister David Pandanoa said he was with the firm conviction that the implementation of the project, communities in Falaba and Farana would benefit both countries from improved cross-border relations and promote peaceful coexistence between cattle herders, crop farmers through the provision of smart climate livelihoods. WFP, IOM and the Minister of Internal Affairs would co-implement the project for 24 months and provide livelihood support, establishment of community pasture infrastructures and solar-powered irrigation systems. Ibrahim Samura, Freetown.
Managing waste has been a serious challenge for the Freetown City Council over the years. Despite efforts to see the capital sanitized, many are still in the habit of disposing waste in an unregulated manner. To help address such challenge, the Freetown City Council has engaged tribal heads to enforce bylaws for keeping the city clean. Joseph Trey witnessed the session.
Depositing waste in an unregulated manner poses a serious threat to the health of many Freetonians. Though existing laws seek to curb such negative practice, many still continue to do such. The limited number of metropolitan police cannot man the capital city to enforce bylaws. Thus, the involvement of local authorities to help enforce bylaws was considered as taking the council to the people. Having the tribal heads into ensuring sanitation is maintained in the capital, Mayor Yvonne Akisoya was confident would be sustainable as in line with the Transform Freetown initiative.
In terms of effectiveness, we focus on changing behaviors with the Cleaner Zone competition, which is about incentivizing, but from an enforcement perspective, we need more hands on deck, and working with chiefs gives us that additional coverage. So in every community now, the chiefs have been empowered, we've delegated the authority to them.
Those who will be found wanting will be paying fines to the tribal heads. She explained more on how the initiative will be carried out at ward and zonal levels.
Back to council, we've delegated a specific level of authority to the chiefs. So at the sub-chief level, the chiefs can fine 100,000 leones for sanitation offences, and they will collect that money themselves and they will use it to build enforcement at the local level. That's really key because we have between 1.2 to 1.5 million people in our city, and we only have 150 Met Police. So if you can imagine, that's on average one Met Police for about 100,000 people.
Tribal heads were appreciative of the idea, registering that they have crucial roles in ensuring sanitation is maintained in Freetown.
They pledged commitment to implement the bylaws fully. SLBC, Joseph Toure reporting.
As Christmas approaches, DSTV Sierra Leone has fed over 150 kids in Freetown, an event at the Freetown Amusement Park. Teaching our children about the importance of charity is something that is really important, especially at Christmas time. Each Christmas for the past years, DSTV has been organizing their Kids Joy Festival gesture to provide food and school items for kids. This has become a little tradition and one that children really enjoy. It's very easy for children to get wrapped up in their own little world and think about nothing but a pile of presents waiting to be given to them at Christmas. The marketing and sales manager at Transnational Sierra Leone, Sidi Moiga, said they are taking a new adventure to keep assisting the children's learning environment, and it is always a pleasure for the kids to meet with new friends and have fun time with one another. Special children playtime, music and dance, including painting of the faces of the children, was also part of the program. The Intellectuals Royal Club has donated food and non-food items to beggars along the Central Business District in Freetown. This show comes on the organization's 25th anniversary. The food items included rice, onions, tomatoes, cooking oil, amongst others. The donation catered for beggars at Cotton Tree, Wilberforce Street, Washington Street, Ball Station, Echo Street, and the PWD Disabled Camp. Chairman of the Intellectuals Royal Club, Ibrahim Barmaswara, said they choose to support the poor as a show of love and care. He appreciated God for keeping the club for 25 years and noting that the club has produced eminent members that are contributing to nation building. The Intellectual Royal Club was started at the Milton Malay College at Congo Cross some 25 years ago and now has branches in almost all colleges in the country. Methodist Church Sierra Leone has provided food and non-food items worth over 180 million to the National Disaster Management Agency in Freetown. The gesture by the Methodist Church Sierra Leone was to help support the victims of the Wellington fire disaster admitted at the hospital to recover speedily. Dennis Fraser reports.
Over the years, Methodist Church Sierra Leone has been providing charity support to Sierra Leoneans in times of emergency, like the Motomed disaster, flooding and fire disaster at Susans Bay community. As a result of the fire disaster at the Wellington Wharf community, the church, through its partner, the Methodist Church UK, deemed it fit to also lend a hand of goodwill to affected persons. Presenting the items to the Director General, National Disaster Management Agency, Administrative Bishop Reverend Roland Bob Williams said that they asked a church does not countenance the cost or energy put into the donation, but for the purpose of God's blessing, they have thought of such gesture.
The Methodist Church Sierra Leone is not new to giving assistance to supporting disaster issues in Sierra Leone. We've been supporting disaster victims in many different ways, water, flooding, etc., etc. So when this thing happened, we thought as a church that we should not sit back, but to come together to see what we can do. It's better late than never. Not because we thought of it lately, but because we are planning. And we have partners also who are abroad in the UK, the Methodist Church in the UK, who actually came in to be with us in doing this.
The Director General, National Disaster Management Agency, retired Lieutenant General Brahima Sise, said they were pleased to receive the items.
Receiving series of donations from well-wishers, from organizations, from the international community, from our partners within, since we had that unfaithful incident on the 5th of November.
It is expected that the items provided by Methodist Church Sierra Leone will have a great impact on those hospitalized in different hospitals. SABC NewsHour, Dennis Fraser reporting.
The Board of Governors, Prince of Wales Secondary School, have presented teachers of the school with bags of rice and monies as their Christmas bonuses. The chairman of the school's board, Dr. Ekundayo Gilpin, said teachers are the foundation of an educated nation. Julian Kruma has the details.
We know that things are not like we would like them to be, but believe that there is always the light at the end of the tunnel. We believe that we don't give up, continue pushing. We believe that we're doing a tremendous job to keep the kids educated, keep the kids in line, and also to set the standard for a school like this.
Both the junior and senior secondary school teachers received their bonuses with a hearty smile. But one of the board members, Henry Shillan, admonished the teachers that next year not all might receive bonus.
There will be no more free teachers' bonus. It will be on performance.
In addition to the envelopes the teachers received, several other gifts were bestowed. The caretaker principal of the junior secondary school, Prince of Wales, Samatukuma.
We are ready and we are well prepared to continue the good work. I know I am saying it on behalf of all the teachers of this school that next year we will see the same gifts again because we are all going to work extremely hard.
She noted that the bonuses the teachers received this year will make them work harder. SLBC News, Julian Koma.
Most women in traditional societies like Sierra are designated to be in the kitchen. However, a good number of young women coming up are fighting to gain a more prominent role in society through education and skill development. This is more like the mission of the National Center for Vocational Studies, which has been training women and young girls over the last 38 years in skills empowerment. Fatima Kamara has more.
Since 1983, the National Center for Vocational Studies has been empowering young girls and women in order to become more self-reliant. Giving her opening remarks in their 38th anniversary, Principal of the National Center for Vocational Studies, Madam Maria Majabi, said they will provide a platform in institutions for all their final year students to gain the experience of what they studied at the center. The center has inaugurated dozens of their students into various student governance positions. One of the teachers, Dora Kanu, said the program was a way to encourage the students. When presenting the badges to the students, one of the ex-students, Elizabeth Koyama, advised the student executive to pay more attention to their academic work and also ensure to work in peace and harmony for the betterment of the school. The Student Union President, Khadija Tubari, thanked and appreciated the effort of the teachers and promised to work hard to take the vocation to higher level during her tenure. For SLBC News, Fatima Kamara reports.
SOS Children's Village Sierra Leone, a UK-based donor, the Great Football Giveaway, is distributing footballs to schools, orphanages and deprived communities across the country. In Makeni, a ceremony was held at the Makeni City Council Hall, and several stakeholders from the city, wearing officials from the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, were in attendance. Hassan Fore sent in this report from Makeni.
Speaking to SLBC, the Fund Development and Communications Manager, SOS Children's Village, Henry Sheku, said they received 3,000 footballs from the UK-based donor, and that distribution of the consignment would be made at various locations across the country. He said in conjunction with the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, careful selection of institutions in dire need of the kit were made. That included orphanages.
So today we did Makeni for distribute a total of 600 footballs.
We are here today to distribute a total of 600 footballs to schools and communities for Makeni and its surroundings. We targeted about 45 schools. Some are deprived of their talents because they don't have access to footballs.
And they will be deprived of the right to play, or they get the talents then they it's not going to be sure because they don't have access to football.
Mr. Sheku said the gesture did not come from the Blues, but was actualized through a conducted needs assessment and a proposal dished out to partners stating the needs of schools. He said the support was to guarantee the right to play and to develop the talent of pupils, adding that their aim was to have a child-friendly center where children would play and meet with psychosocial experts.
One of the things that we serve on a needs assessment also say a lacking. Now people they not information.
One thing that came out lacking in our needs assessment was the unavailability of counselors to mentor and guide people. Some have great talent but lose them because of that.
It will be a long way for ensuring people the skills and talent they don't develop in this country.
The head of Physical Health Education Division in the Northeast region, Baisha Kawuri, said the balls came at a time when they were needed most, citing the ongoing inter-school league and its challenges. They said the support was a boost to the PHE department and the ministry as a whole.
Then give 5 balls and 2 inflators them. Pump.
To give 5 footballs and 2 inflators per school made we in the PHE division and the ministry proud. We have also appealed for volleyball, games tunic and the likes. And we are happy, they were happy for the turnout.
And they feel very much impressed and say ever when they be the worker. I then give them the most welcome when they see the actual school picking them and then see the actual felt need of the picking them for the supply where they give.
He said the support was a boost to the PhD department and the ministry as a whole. He called on other partners to emulate the same, mostly in the area of female football. Beneficiaries expressed appreciation to SOS for the gesture, pledging they would make the best out of it. For Newshour, Hassan Forekama reporting from McKinney.
The National Monitoring and Evaluation Directorate has ended its monitoring of the country's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The monitoring exercise was done in 2 phases: stakeholders engagement with collection of data from NAPOVAC, Ministry of Health and Sanitation, National Commission for Social Action and Statistics, Sierra Leone. While following the exercise, the National Monitoring and Evaluation Directorate has put together the stakeholder from the institutions mentioned earlier to report its findings. Dennis Fraser witnessed the workshop.
National Monitoring and Evaluation Directorate, NAMED, has been monitoring several programs and projects by government, including the Midterm National Development Plan, MTNDP, and operates government-wide monitoring and evaluating system. Since March 31st, 2020, when Ministry of Health and Sanitation reported the country's first case of COVID-19, National Monitoring and Evaluation Directorate has been following up on government response mechanism. Hence, after a year of battling with the pandemic, it has put together a report on lessons learned. This document seeks to address what went well, what did not go well, what was missing and how it can be improved. Deliberations on the lessons identified will be incorporated into the monitoring report, which will be finished and shared for point correction in the ongoing response and for future actions on any disease of similar nature. National Monitoring and Evaluation Directorate is trying to implement a sustainable long-term system that can take care of the ongoing fight and better prepare the nation in the event of future epidemic or pandemic.
Which is launching the response itself. If the government had waited probably a month or 2, we should be in a different position right now. Even the disbelief that there's no COVID here is because the government responded pretty early, closing the borders, instituting other measures like getting technical team together, establishing NAPOVAC. These are all issues that happen.
From the Ministry of Health and Sanitation's perspective, they hope to use the document to prepare for launching and instituting rapid response, implement control measures, and increase awareness on vaccination.
But what went well, what did not go well, and what we will be able to do to improve on this. And in public health, there is a saying, in fact, in Well, in peacetime, you have to prepare for war. So we are looking at what we have done, and then we would be able to...
As Omicron spreads globally, there is growing interest in how governments respond to the novel pandemic, cooperations with partners, and robust action to controlling the spread through vaccination. SABC News Hour, Dennis Fraser reporting.
Now, as the year ends, we're interested in knowing what people everywhere in the country are doing to celebrate the festivities in their various ways. We engage our correspondent, Safa Moriba, who is in Kenema District.
Well, in Kenema, situation is just like how it has been happening before. I took some tour within the Lori Park. I went to the Moon Park here. I also went to the Freetown Park, even the other park that leading passengers to Kala and Tomo area and Papa. You know, the motorbike riders, the vehicles are getting passengers coming in and going out. Look at the buses that are coming from Freetown and Moen are full. Also those that are going out of the city. And most people are coming in relative from in and out of the country, into Kenema. Likewise also you are seeing people from Kenema also going out of the city to their villages and so forth. The mood is just as usual it has been occurring, like if there's no COVID around. Few people I said eyes on are still making use of the COVID observing. I saw them with these 6 months, but majority are not using it. But you see, there are an outlet there where people are going there taking their COVID matrix, like the COVID office here in Kenema, even at the government hospital. I saw people there taking their COVID vaccination.
So for a few more days to Christmas, have you been able to walk, to the marketplaces to see how people are preparing ahead of the Christmas?
Yes, if you go to the main market now, around you will see people their new wares for sale. You see the place always crowded, like talking about along Kachamba Terrace, Maxwell, Kobe Street and so forth. It's a populated area. You see a lot of people there. Some are getting wear for their lost one, some for their kid. You see people around there with their kid purchasing. You go to shops and so forth. You see people are swimming all around the so that the festive season is peak in this part of the country.
So what about the price commodities? Do you have any information about whether prices of commodities have been inflated or what? Because this is festive season, and remember that these are the seasons when we have people getting more prices on commodities.
Well, that one, I'm explaining that one here. The cost of item is just skyrocketing. The prices are going up. Even in the area of rice, you think of local commodities, paper, those things, like potato now, I think it's 2,500 euros per time. These costs are going up cassava this, and so prices are inflating in this local. At the same time, the imported goods also, we are getting prices are skyrocketing. But yet, people must buy it because you can't go there and so forth. From some of our relatives from the village also go to the market.
And that's it. If you just tuned in, you're watching news coming to you live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, SABC. Now it's now time for us to go for some news around the African continent. Continent, a number of African leaders gathered in Brussels on Sunday to prepare the European Union-African Union Summit in February. The delegation was greeted by the President of the European Council, Charles Michel, Democratic Republic of Congo Felix Tshisekedi. I was present, as well as the President Macky Sall from Senegal and Paul Kagame from Rwanda. According to an EU official, the discussion centered on the preparations for the summit, expected outcomes, and the main themes and ideas to be addressed by the leaders, and a number of investments should be announced by the end of the summit schedule for mid-February. The main opposition party in Burkina Faso, CDP, has re-elected Eddie Kubungo as its leader. The election took place during the 8th Congress in the capital, Ouagadougou. The party presented a new political bureau comprised of 89 members that marks another turn for the party founded 25 years ago. President of the Congress for Democracy and Progress Party, Eddie Kubungo, thanked all and sundry and assured them that they have made the right choice. He promised fair management of the party and will work for a great rally. The party confirmed former leader Blaise Compaoré as honorable president and vowed to increase internal cohesion. The South African President Cyril Ramaphosa returned to work after spending a week in isolation following a positive COVID test. Ramaphosa, who is fully vaccinated, felt unwell after leaving the state's memorial service for former President F.W. de Klerk in Cape Town on the 12th of December. Ramaphosa self-isolated in Cape Town and was being monitored by the South African Military Health Service. He had delegated all responsibilities to Deputy President David Mabuza for a whole week. The South African government, however, didn't reveal whether he had been infected with the Omicron coronavirus variant. But that's it for some news on the African continent. It's now time for us to go for some entertainment news. Let's see what's happening in our entertainment world. Hello and welcome to the Entertainment News. My name is Daphne Kimamakoli. In this edition of the Entertainment News, we shall be talking about the album Press Play. And of course, what is happening in the Big Sister television reality show. The album Press Play is a collaboration of 3 upcoming musicians, Village Boy, Time and Zino Salone. Each has 4 songs in the album Press Play, which is made up of 12 songs. The album is produced by Jingle Noise Production and will be out soon. But what was the reason for this collaboration of new artists to produce an album? Amadou James Koroma is the producer of the Press Play album.
The reason why is because, like you say, the 3 new artists, different, they all get different style. So the goal is for each artist to show new strength without needing the backing of somebody that's already, you know. So tomorrow, if without that guy you do a song, people are like, oh, it's because of that guy, that's why that song is good.
Okay.
So the point is to show that we can hold you without anybody for now. And then later on we venture out and bring everybody.
Village Boy is one of the artists with 4 songs in the Press Play album. He spoke to the SLBC Entertainment News about his favorite songs in the album.
2 songs that I absolutely love, and actually if you check out social media accounts, Village Boy for you on Instagram, Jungle Noise Production, you will also see that we did an interview as well where we highlighted some of our favorite songs from each artist. Mine, 2 favorites I have. One is actually one of my songs produced by Freedom Beats. It's Money Rules the World. It's an anthem that I think everyone in the world will relate to.
Village Boy has so far released 3 songs before collaborating in this album, and so must be aware of how to promote his songs. Zino Salone also has a few songs in the industry, but this is the first time he has collaborated with 2 other musicians on an album.
We plan on popularizing the album by just, reaching out to people, get the music out there, make sure every radio station, every TV station is playing the songs, and we're shooting videos for almost 3 to 4 of the songs in the album that we're going to be pushing. So each artist will have a separate video that we're going to be pushing out to everybody. So social media, TikTok, Instagram, we're definitely going to be pushing to all you guys. So we want you guys to just press play. Press play.
Now let's get a little of what is made up of Press Play album.
Go up on the street for spend money. Never ever learn to spend money. Village boy. I like money, so I spend money. Go up on the street for spend money. Never ever learn to spend money. Money, yeah, money rule the world. Money, yeah, yeah, money rule the world. Money in the paper.
These three artists, Village Boy, Time and Zeno Salon, have placed their talent on the album to make sure it becomes one of the biggest album in the country. Currently, they are working on the videos of the song in the album as they encourage everyone to just press play. That means to just listen to the album. Now, what is happening in the Big Sister Serial show? Almost all the roommates are up for eviction, so make sure you vote for your favorite roommate in the house. To vote for your favorite roommate, just send the number of your favorite roommate to 2020 on all orange line. That's all we have time for in this edition of the Entertainment News. My name is Daphne Kema Macaulay. Many thanks to entertainment correspondent Daphne Kema Macaulay. Was now time for us to go for some sporting updates, and we'll be joined by our sports correspondent.
Welcome to Sports Updates. In this edition of the Sport News, as the major league push and mark against the African Cup of Nations taking place at Schedule in Cameroon next month continues, the head coach of Sierra Leone's men's football team, Chokista, has released his provisional list of 40 players ahead of the said competition. Mufanua Kamara, Saïdou Mansaye, Abu Doumbia are among the home-based players who made it to the provisional list. As required by CAF, only 28 players will make the final squad, where the team continues its effective training. Also in the news, AFCON officials state that African Cup of Nations will go ahead despite COVID-19 concerns, due to be held in Cameroon from January 9th to February 6th. The African Cup of Nations will see Africa's best national teams going toe-to-toe for the continental glory, but there are conflicting reports about whether it will be called off. The 5th of January's African Cup of Nations finals in Cameroon hangs in the balance due to these concerns. Here's details of the story.
On Sunday, a CAF Executive Committee meeting resolved to go ahead with the 2014 event only if Motsepe was able to secure guarantee from Cameroon over its readiness. The organizers, however, have remained adamant that the festival of football will still happen, even with some clubs hoping for a cancellation so that their star players remain at the club for that period. Cameroon was originally awarded the hosting of the 2019 finals, but the tournament was switched to Egypt when CAF decided the Central African country was not ready. Cameroon was then handed the 2021 tournament, which has since been delayed by 12 months due to the coronavirus pandemic. CAF said last week that it would be importing its own laboratory, bypassing local healthcare facilities to test players during the tournament. For details suggest that the European Clubs Association have written a letter to FIFA expressing their concerns about the safety and well-being of the players competing at the competition. It is stated that the CAF are under huge pressure and the AFCON looks set to be postponed, with a host of Premier League footballers expected to participate in the tournament, including Algeria captain and Manchester City winger Riyad Mahrez. There are fears amongst clubs in Europe that the competition may expose the players to the variant. Other high-profile African players include Liverpool's Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane, Chelsea's Mendy, Arsenal's Emerick Aubameyang and Manchester United appointed Eric Bailey to name a few. Only time will tell whether the 2021 African Cup of Nations does not postpone, but with how the situation is unfolding, it looks like that Africa's premier international competition will be called off.
Well, that's all we have time for in this edition of Sports Updates and News Hour. I am your host, Esther Marie Samara. Say goodbye and keep watching the SMBC.
Many thanks to the sports correspondent Esther Marie Samura for today's sporting update. Well, viewers, that's all we have time for in today's edition of News Hour right here on the SLBC. But before we go, let's take a quick look at our top stories. Anti-Corruption Commission has reacted to the 2020 audit report. Commissioner Francis Ben Kaifale said even though his commission cannot investigate the entirety of the audit report simultaneously, yet his inspection officers are poised to start investigation of the first batch. The Minister of Information and Communications, Mohammed Rahman Suare, has launched over 1.9 billion project for the rehabilitation of the SLBC Kono radio station. Ambang Governor Professor Kilfala Kaiwan has said that they want to improve access to finance, particularly for micro, small and medium-sized enterprises in the country. That's how we draw down the curtains on today's news broadcast right here on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation SLBC. Many thanks to you for taking our time to join me here tonight. Till then, when I shall return on your screen, have been your presenter Adam Masila saying tata. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. Do have a blessed and pleasant week ahead. You stay safe, you stay out of trouble, and a Merry Christmas and a bright and prosperous New Year in advance. Stay tuned and keep watching the SLBC. Bye.